Here's a thing on climate change, and it's very serious, been looking at, and this has been looking in for maybe 50 years. How to change the surface of the planet Earth so it reflects more light into the upper atmosphere. It's very serious. The temperature across southern United States was in triple digits. What did that do? It heated up the rivers across that area because those rivers drain into the Gulf of Mexico. And when you have triple digits on this band here, it heats everything up, dries everything out, what have you. And the Gulf of Mexico went up to 88 degrees. So there's that little span across the ocean down there, the Gulf, that you can literally cook you can literally cook the top of the oceans. Heat rises. Which things like algae, and considering that the oceans provide the oxygen to this planet is something like 60%, you can kill that top layer of life. So they're looking at very simple geoengineering of how to do is reflect more of the ocean. And one of the ways is to do is fog. Okay, yeah, fog. But how do you do that with it high ocean? Well, maybe it's something cold. How do you do that? Well, you're not going to really do much, are you? You can paint the top of your roofs to your thing. You can plant more green trees, grass. But if you don't have water because they dry out, yeah. One of the things is to produce artificial clouds. And you're not talking artificial clouds for an acre, but you're talking square miles of an artificial cloud over the water. Well, you can't do it too much because the oceans, that top layer of algae, plankton and what have you, takes in sunlight, converts it to CO2, takes in sunlight and CO2 from the oceans and converts it right into energy, right? Food for other fishes. But they're thinking about doing it over land. You have solar collectors. But you think of also changing over the land, cloud. Can you do it in a desert? How do you make artificial clouds? Well, you can do it with smoke. Yes, but that pollutes the atmosphere. You can do it with whatever to reduce the temperature on the surface. A lot of aluminum foil reflecting. But then, of course, everything underneath doesn't get that life-giving sunlight. That thing. But they have decided that maybe you can do this atmosphere aerosol injection up there. Yes, up there. Releasing something that will reflect in the atmosphere, way up the stratosphere, okay? What's wrong with that? What's wrong with that is it may get out of hand. What happens if it will be like a cloud across the top up there, a floating cloud. That may do the totally thing. It may, then how do you disperse all of that? It's like a volcanic ash going off, And that volcano going off and all that cloud cover reflects a lot of sunlight, and temperatures below it can drop 10 degrees. Well, if you can do that over, say, Greenland, they were thinking about doing something like that. A low-laying clouds over Greenland reflect sunlight up. That's what you want to do. Or coat Greenland in the springtime with reflected material. Of course, forest fires would neglect that by laying that thin ash of light-absorbing ash on Greenland. But there are the risks. Really, there are the benefits, there are the risks. What happens if you really produce cloud cover that reflects over areas in 1,000 miles across, just like a great big reflector for one day or 2 days or a week? That means below is not getting sunlight, and the temperature can quickly change. You can drop a temperature 20, 30, 50 degrees when you don't have light falling on it. I mean, if it's springtime, you don't have planting. There's too many unknown factors. But of course, people are thinking about, oh, well, what happens if we do this, and what happens if we release this very fine flutter up there? Well, you don't know what will happen. And that's a big question. Yes, you have to cool down the planet, and you may not be, trying to plant well. You don't harvest the fields then. You plant wheat without harvesting it. So there's always that blanket there. But what are you going to do?